The Denver Broncos went out and got the one position in the draft that I don't think anybody expected: defensive back, with the selection of Jahdae Barron in the first round at 20th overall out of the University of Texas. He is now the third Texas DB on the Denver Broncos roster, along with PJ Locke and Brandon Jones. So Texas is slowly turning into DBU there for the Denver Broncos. As far as this pick is concerned, fans, a certain sector of fans, are upset because the Denver Broncos passed on both Omarion Hampton and Travion Henderson. Hampton went just a couple picks later to the Chargers at 22. Henderson is still on the board entering the second round. I don't know if Denver anticipated that, but George Paton told the media tonight that Barron was very high up on their draft board and that they feel like they got a weapon on the defensive side of the ball. I want to take you back to the quote that Sean Payton had in the Broncos pre-draft presser, where he said that the two best friends of a young quarterback are defense and a good run game. Now, the run game side of things will be addressed in the draft. They are going to take a running back. I believe that they're going to end up coming away with a running back at some point tomorrow in round 2 or round 3. If you had to ask me right now, I would say that Denver might consider trading up in the second round for Travion Henderson. They got lucky that he fell out of the first round. I was thinking he was going to go at 29 to Washington. Washington and Kansas City were probably the two destinations that were the most worrisome for him to fall to, and they ended up both going with offensive tackles. So Henderson still being on the board is good news for the Denver Broncos, but let's go ahead and talk about Jahdae Barron in this video and how the Denver Broncos are going to utilize him, because some fans are thinking, what does this mean for Riley Moss? Do the Denver Broncos no longer believe in Riley Moss? That couldn't be farther from the truth. I want to go ahead and bring in this tweet here from Zach Stevens, and he's not the only Broncos insider saying this. Almost all of them are. Initially, the Denver Broncos planned to play Jahdae Barron, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, at nickel. So he's going to be playing on the inside in the slot. Riley Moss stays outside on the boundary. So PS2 and Riley Moss will be your two boundary corners, and Barron is going to be your nickel. Jaquan McMillan was a guy that, yes, he's a great story. He was an undrafted free agent that rose up the ranks to become a solid starter. I'm a big fan of Jaquan's, but he did have some games that were quite rough last year. And if Denver wants to take their defense to the next level, then they need somebody who can be more of a playmaker at nickel, because the new base defense in the NFL is nickel defense. With offenses playing with 3 wide receiver sets in 11 personnel, you need nickels on the field to match that. So for some people out there saying that nickel is not a starting position in the NFL, that's not true. This is no longer 2005. Nickel is very much a starting position in the NFL, and it's a very important position that quite differs from outside boundary corner. You really have to be able to have a good skill set as a blitzer, and most importantly, you have to be able to tackle. And that was one of the things, according to George Paton, that really sold the Denver Broncos on Barron in his film evaluation, was how well he tackled. Additionally, he's just one of those guys that brings that dog mentality on defense, and that's what the Denver Broncos are trying to accumulate here, is more and more players that love the game of football, that bring that dog mentality on every single rep. So it seems that Barron was the top defensive player on the board for the Denver Broncos that was still available, and one of the top players overall. And Sean Payton said that this is a deep running back class. You can find starters on day 2. Hell, even on day 3 you can find starters. So if there is any year where you are okay passing on a running back in the first round, it is this year. Honestly, I think that's just any year in the NFL. You shouldn't take a first round running back unless it's a special player, and I'm very glad that the Denver Broncos did not take a first round running back. So overall, I think this is a solid pick for the Denver Broncos. Do I think it's an amazing pick? Honestly, Not initially, but I'm seeing a lot of people who really like this pick who I trust in evaluation. And based on my own evaluation of Barron, I think that he's an excellent football player. And that's the big thing for me, is the Denver Broncos came away with a good football player who has a high football IQ. He's fundamentally sound in his technique. He doesn't get beat too often. And when he does get beat, he's got goldfish brain. He learns from his mistake and he moves on and doesn't dwell on it. That's probably my favorite trait of Barron's. And like George Payton said, he's a tackling machine, and you need corners in the NFL or nickels in the NFL, in the case here of Barron, who can tackle, and he can tackle quite well. So that is the plan. That is the philosophy for the Denver Broncos with Jahdae Barron. They are going to play him inside at nickel. This probably means that Jaquan McMillan is out of a job. I believe Jaquan is going to compete very hard with Barron in training camp, but come on, the first round pick is always going to win that competition. He's got the pedigree. I think Jaquan had a great run here in Denver, but you just upgrade to the next level at nickel by taking Jahdae Barron, or Jahdae Barron. Again, I'm not sure how it's pronounced. I'll have to double check and make sure, but I'm really, again, not overwhelmingly happy with this pick, but I am happy with it. I do like the pick. I just don't think that it's some amazing pick, especially when you consider that, honestly, my favorite defensive player who is still on the board in Derek Harmon went one pick later to the Pittsburgh Steelers. That one hurt. That one hurt big time for me, more than Hampton. Again, you guys know that I wasn't too high on Hampton. I'm definitely skeptical about how his game's going to translate at the NFL level, and I think that he profiles quite similarly to Javonte Williams with some of his flaws, but Denver still is in position here to get a really good running back. Is it Henderson? Is it Caleb Johnson? Is it Quinshon Judkins? I don't know, but we're going to find out tomorrow, and things are going to get really serious for the Denver Broncos, but these are their plans for Jahdae Barron at nickel. Alright guys, be sure to leave a like on this video as well, subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And let me know in the comment section below, guys, what is your grade on this draft pick by the Denver Broncos, and how do you feel that they passed on Omari and Hampton and passed on Travion Henderson in the first round? And do you think Denver will be able to get Henderson tomorrow? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts as always. And until next time, Broncos country, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.